am a Mocha mom and I am back to talk potty training. Now that my fifth child, Mocha baby, has been successfully mostly potty trained. And I just want to share some of the things that I've learned working with all five of my kids. It can be a really good process and it can be a really frustrating process. And I didn't know what to expect with her, so I really wasn't trying to rush it. But there are signs that you could look at to see whether or not your child is ready. One thing that I've learned is that the child is largely in charge of their own body. You can't force them to do anything. So one mistake that I've made in the past is that I allowed potty training to become a power struggle. And really, they're largely in charge. So it's good to look for signs that they are ready to be potty trained. And there are different levels of potty training. I've heard of people potty training their really, really young children, but when you get more details about what they're doing, they're actually putting their child on the potty periodically. So the child is not really potty trained. The parent is trained to know what the child needs and to rush and take care of it. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're willing to do. But when I talk about potty training, I'm talking about the child in and of themselves walking through the entire process by themselves with very little involvement from the parent. So that's where Mocha Baby is right now. So here are some signs of readiness. One, that they can understand simple directions, and two, that they listen to you when you give them simple directions. If you have a discipline problem with your child, chances are that they may not listen to you when you try to work with them toward potty training, and it will become a power struggle that most likely you won't win because, again, they are in charge of their own body. So maybe if that's an issue for you, you may want to work on the discipline issues first. Two, that they have the physical capacity to pull their pants up and down. Your child has to be able to have the fine motor skills to pull their pants up, to pull their pants down, their pants and their panties or underwear down, to pull their underwear up first and then followed by their pants, and wiping and dumping the potty and putting it back together. They have to have those type of skills to be able to proceed, at least for how I want to do it. A big one, this is a huge one towards success or failure, that your child has the mental and developmental readiness, the developmental skill to understand that, oh, I feel that urge to urinate or relieve myself. I need to stop what I'm doing now and give myself enough time to make it to the potty to walk through the process. Some kids, they can feel the urge, but they don't have the maturity yet to figure out how much time it'll take to get to the potty before they have an accident. So your child has to be able to walk through that process. And I think that's something that we maybe don't focus enough on. And that could be the cause of the accidents that happen. So make sure your child is there. And really, I've noticed with Mocha Baby, she learned that. So just because she failed in that area at first doesn't mean she wasn't ready, but I had to really watch carefully to see that she really could grasp that. A big one is to see if there's different degrees of potty training you can achieve. Your child could be potty trained and wearing cloth underwear all day and using the potty, but yet when they take naps or at bedtime, they still wear a diaper. A check for readiness, if they can go all night without a diaper, is when I noticed with my kids as they got older, when they would wake up in the morning, their diaper wouldn't be all that full. It might be a little bit wet, but it wouldn't be all that full. And one kid got to the point where every morning they were waking up and their diaper was dry. That's a physical signal that your child's body has the physical capacity to hold water, to hold their water for long periods of time. And that's a sign that they could go all night without having an accident. And also, put your child in a situation where if they are the kind that will wake up in the middle of the night if they feel the urge to go, they're not in a crib that they can't get out of, but that they're in a toddler bed and there's a potty nearby and it's light enough that they can make it to the potty. So you have to consider all these things before you put, regular panties or regular briefs on your child and expect them to stay dry all night. A final one is all of these signs may not be in place, but this is a big sign that your child is showing signs of wanting to potty train. Your child may want to potty train, but looking at the signs that I described before will show you what kind of potty training you'll be successful at achieving with your child. If your child doesn't have a whole lot of skills, but they're showing an interest in potty training by taking their clothes off, they have the ability to take everything off, and then anything could happen anywhere. Or they're asking about potty training, they're trying to imitate you when they're in the bathroom. If they don't have the ability to do it all themselves, then maybe you can work with them on various levels of potty training. Maybe it'll be a situation where you're helping them a lot because they can't do it themselves yet, or you can move toward full independent potty training. What happened with Mocha Baby is she started taking her clothes off, and I'd find her butt naked on the couch. She would ask, she would say, I want to go potty, I need to go potty. And she's very verbal. She speaks very well. She has excellent fine motor skills. I remember posting on the fan page how she can take out her own braids. If they're big braids, she can take them out herself. She can do all the things that were listed here, except that when she wakes up in the morning, her diaper is still very full. So when I say she's potty training, all day she wears regular cloth underwear, but at bedtime, she still wears a diaper because her diaper is extremely full in the morning. And she only just turned 2 in October. So she's still young. She's on the early range of wanting to be potty trained. So as she gets older and her diaper gets less and less full, then we'll phase into her not wearing a diaper at all ever. Another area I want to talk about is mommy readiness, because the kid can be ready, but some of the things that we do can sabotage our efforts towards successful potty training. I know for me, a big thing was letting go of control. The child is in control of their own body, and at those ages of 2 and 3, kids really want to show you that they can do things themselves. They want to do it all themselves because they're a big boy or they're a big girl. And so this is difficult with the steps of potty training, because one thing that's important is getting a potty that they can work with well. I recently bought a potty from Target. It's a Fisher Price potty, and it looks like this. I paid about $12 for it, and this is the best potty I've ever bought. It's 2 parts. It has this part and then this part. And since it's so big and it fits in such a specific way, it has handles on the side, so it's very easy for the child to hold and manipulate this potty. And when they're done with their business, they just have to snap it in, and it comes together in a very obvious way. And the colors contrast in such a big way that it's easy for them to figure out what they're doing, and it's very cute. And so I love this potty. And so I've had different potties where you have to lift the top up and then scoop the cup out. And then when you go back to put it together, you have to do it in a very specific way so that it fits snugly. And the top may not close completely, and I always get worried about their skin getting caught along the sides. So the design of the potty that you choose is important. Make sure your child knows how to manage it. Another thing too is they'll wanna sit themselves. They'll want to pull their pants down themselves and pull it back up themselves. They'll want to wipe themselves. And when they're done with the deed, they'll want to dump it themselves. And there are times when they might not make it into the potty. Stuff might get on the floor. And I know for me, since I like neat and clean things, I'm like, oh, let me help you. And it becomes a battle. And they'll be like, no, I want to do it myself. And what I've noticed is with my first try at potty training, when I was very rigid about that, the child just totally, backed off, and he didn't want to do it at all. In fact, he was holding it. I remember it was about a week and he wouldn't go, make any bowel movements. And he was just having wet accidents all the time because I was too much in control of the process. So you have to kind of prepare yourself. If you have an area rug that you could roll out of the way, if you could make sure you spend most of your time in the kitchen, whatever it is that you have to do so that you can let them learn, because they do get better at making it. If you let them practice, whatever you need to do, you need to do it, because really they're in charge of the process. Because what'll happen is it'll regress. They won't want to do it. They'll start fighting you more. There'll be more accidents, and worse yet, they'll hold it and literally constipate themselves. So you want to avoid all of that. Have enough potties. Have enough potties to work with, because you want to maximize their success. You don't want your child to have an accident because they just couldn't make it to the potty in time because it was too far, or it was in a place that they didn't realize where it was, or you kept moving it around. You want to keep it in the same place, and you want to put it close enough to where they're playing so that when they realize, I have to go potty, the potty is there and they could do their business. So we have 3 levels in this house. So I have a potty on every level in every bathroom, because the bathrooms are centrally located. In the basement, there's no bathroom, but I put the potty in a central place where there's no carpeting in the basement. That particular potty I have to empty myself, and my child realizes that and doesn't fight me on it. Give a lot of praise. When they succeed, you praise them. If there are siblings around, oh, you know, so-and-so's baby just went potty, yay. Everybody is praising. We praise, 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 maybe even overpraise when there's a success. And then when there's a failure, you know, we don't hit, we don't spank, we don't yell, we don't penalize, because it's a learning process and you're trying to teach them the right thing to do. So when there's a failure, you calmly point out that there was a failure, and you try to look to see what was the cause. Was it because, you know, they did not realize they had to go? Did the failure happen because the clothing, there was a clothing malfunction and they couldn't get the clothing down properly? Was it a failure because the child is sick? If your child is sick, you may have to have a different type of situation going on. You might need pull-ups, you might need diapers to work with the sickness. And prepare your own mind that accidents may and could happen, and be prepared for them. When you leave the house, decide if it's a situation where you may not be able to go fully clothed. You're on a long road trip. You don't know when you're going to come to a rest area. Okay, maybe you might need to have your child in pull-ups in that situation. If it's an overnight road trip, maybe you may even need to put a diaper on your child, depending on where they are with the potty training and what their body can physically do. One thing I like to do with road trips is I will bring a potty with me. It's easier to make them sit on their own potty. They used to make the collapsible kind that could fit in a potty. It was kind of like a potty cover. But I haven't seen those this time around. So I actually have a regular Barbie. There's 2 types of potties you could get, this kind and the kind that fits inside the regular potty. I have one of those in a bag in the car, so that I have that with me if I'm ever in a situation where I have to take her to a public restroom. But at this phase, when I leave the house with her, if it's for any length of time other than running to the store and running back, I will put a pull-up on her. And I tell her these are the traveling pants, and she knows that they're not cloth diapers, but she likes to keep herself dry. But the flip side of overusing pull-ups is that the kid realizes they can pee in them, and why bother? They're smart. You know, why bother to go potty if I can just pee in my pull-up like I've always done? In the past, for me, I've realized that moving as much to cloth panties, regular panties as possible has made more sense to them, that they want to go to the potty. They don't want to soil themselves and be uncomfortable. So these are the things that I've learned, and I hope it helps somebody. Let me know what you think below. Be blessed.